G'day rankers, welcome back. There's a lot of noise at the moment around, traffic from AI overviews and AI mode and ChatGPT taking traffic and agents and agentic engine optimization and AI optimization. And I thought it'd be a good time to take things back to basics. And I'm going to do it with this client who's a parts supplier. And they started with us a year ago, e-commerce. And I want to tell you about their story because they started with us by doing a Scrum report. So a Scrum report is something that we brought out about 18 months ago now, I think. And we did it because we could do it with generative AI. It didn't produce the content of the report. The content of the report is produced by our subject matter experts. So our ads person goes across all their ads campaigns and does a review. A UX person does. Our copywriters do. Our SEO person does. I do. Any other technical expertise that we need to go over. Everyone goes over it, and everyone just basically dumps their thoughts into a file. Now, what used to happen is that we wouldn't necessarily do this until the client came on board as a retainer client. And then, we would have quoted them up and all the rest of it, brought them on board. And then the first thing that we would do was a Scrum. But what we found was because we could present this content to the client quickly in a way that read really well, because we just took all those notes and then we put them into another tool, which formats it for us on our letterhead, in our language, in our brand, voice, and everything else. And then we can give that to the client. So that's how we use the AI in this particular situation for the Scrum report. Sometimes for the Scrum report, we'll also use the AI to do analysis and that sort of stuff for us, crunch the numbers, time save it, that sort of thing. And then we give that report to the client. Now, this client bought that report, and they could have gone off to their own developer or a different agency and said, okay, execute this. But they didn't. They decided to use us to execute the recommendations, which I think was an excellent idea, as you will see from these numbers. And I'm happy to say that this client has increased revenue by 153% in 12 months. And including in that, despite all the gloom and doom about organic and Google and all the rest of it, Google organic traffic is up over 20%, and the revenue from Google organic is up over 35%. So certainly this client isn't seeing any of those effects, and most of our e-commerce clients aren't. And the reason they're not is because they haven't been creating content to attract readers from Google, which is what a lot of that SEO content out there actually is. It's to attract traffic, and that traffic just happens to be readers, not shoppers, not buyers. So when we talk about content, we're putting that effort into helping the client with their EDMs, with product descriptions, and that's where we focus on content. It's about the sales copy is what we concern ourselves with. And so the client picked up that Scrum report. That allows us to hit the ground running. So when they come on as a retainer client now, we've got the first 60 days worth of tasks mapped out. We know where we're going straight away. And that is such a good feeling for us. It's such a great feeling for the client because they know the direction. And then we just start executing the tasks. And we prioritize based on lowest touch, highest impact. We'll always go first. So, and this client, as you can see, the revenue up in organic, also in Google Ads. Our ROAS has, I think, doubled. It's up around 1,500% at the moment. The conversion value for the cost is 50% better. There's so many things. ECR, you can see there, is up 54% across every channel. And that's because we focus not just on one metric, or we don't just focus, the main metric that we focus on is sales for the client, or leads if it's a lead gen site. It's a number that we're looking to affect that means something to the business. So if you're an internal SEO with an organization, think about it in those terms, because Good SEO, as we've described over the years, can have an impact on every channel on the site. So in this situation, we're going and fixing things like load. So, we'll be going in, and I think in this occasion we may have got rid of a couple of apps that might have been increasing load times, and that sped up the whole site. So of course, if you're speeding up the whole site, that affects every channel. That affects your direct traffic. Direct traffic ECR here is up 77%. Being organic, that ECR is up 78%. So some extraordinary numbers here for this client. And, the reason it's on track, and we've had to up our targets again now. So we exceeded budget last year. I think last year our targets were something like 25% growth is what we needed to see. So we've blitzed that. And now we've got to beat our next goal, which was a further 20% growth this year, which I think we're already ahead of right now. So we may need to stretch that as well. And this is a great client, don't get me wrong. They've opened up a new warehouse. They're very open to new ideas. They're great to work with, really responsive, get things done quickly. And, quite often, a project might run into problems just because of communication within the organizations. Conflicting goals within a larger organization can be a problem. That's why we're very careful about the clients that we take on. Because, if we're not getting the job done, it's not fun. And that's the way we look at it. And getting the job done for us means hitting those revenue goals, because it gives us a buzz. What used to give us a buzz was getting to #1 in Google. But that's really a vanity metric now. Easy for you to say. And the other thing about thinking about things is in the sense of ranking, am I #1 in Google? For a lot of the searches that we see and that matter to our clients because of the buying intent, #1 organic is like screen 3 or even 4 in some cases on a mobile, because you'll have AI overviews, you'll have ads in there, you'll have people also ask, you might have a knowledge panel, you might have a Google business graph. All of these other things are going to appear before that #1 result. So the key here is with the business, don't lose sight of the fundamentals. Look after the client, build the brand. What we're recommending to the clients, and once we've rolled it out to a few clients, I'll bring you the results here on the show. But we're doing a lot of other things that the generative AI tools allow us to do that have been just cost prohibitive before. And we rolled out a lot of that sort of stuff in the last couple of years with things like buyer personas, all of that sort of stuff, Google Trends data analysis for trends and all those sorts of things. So we've already got all those tools, and now there's a whole new set of tools available to us that we'll be able to use to take clients again to the next level. And I would keep in mind when we talk about generative AI tools, don't think of them as necessarily as things that are going to take your job. Think of them as in terms of, how can I use these tools to amplify my value? How can I increase or decrease my time to value? How can I add more value? How can I augment what we already do for our customers? Because that's the way we're looking at it. And you should be too. Hopefully that's helpful. If you have any questions, please ask and join the conversation wherever you see this video, on LinkedIn, of course YouTube, and of course x.com, and of course my friends on Facebook if you're still there. And please remember to like, share, subscribe. It's how I grow, because I haven't been very good at it, even though, and tell your friends this, it is the oldest digital marketing channel on YouTube in the world. See you next week. Bye.